morning. Thank you so much for having me. Typical of most companies in India, going back to the 90s, we were diversified horizontally into multiple businesses. And when India opened up, in the early 90s, reduced all the tariff barriers, we had to take some strategic calls in terms of focus. So we divested or shut down many of our businesses and focused on compressors and really invested in building the know-why of the business, not just the know-how of the business, right? So the know-why is about having the ability to build the next. The know-how is just the current, right? So that has been our journey, and it continues to be the journey because know-why is an ocean. There are constant opportunities for us to explore in manufacturing, in quality systems, in our product technology, in our people systems. So that's really what is driving ELGi, and that's the current context of where we started and where we are now. Tons of them. Basically, if I have to, again, I'll go back to the statement of know why. When we started this business way back in the 60s, we started with license from various companies all over the world, in Europe and in the US. Now, when you get a license or a technical collaboration, basically you get know-how, right? They will tell you how to put this product together, right? But they will never tell you why it is put together that way, right? It's only when you understand why it is put together that way, you have the ability to question and build the next, right? So today, our entire innovations are all on the realm of the why, yeah? So we have built a lot of small innovations as well as big innovations. In addition, we have institutionalized the why inside the company through building mathematical models and computer programs that envelop these mathematical models so that the knowledge is embedded inside the organization. So if you take a screw compressor, there is so much of knowledge that's sitting into the two rotors of the screw compressor, right? Now, that is not sitting in anyone's head. It is sitting as a program, and then that program is constantly pushed in terms of improvement as we build the why of our knowledge, right? So that's an ongoing process. So that's at the heart of the machine. Then if you look at the overall system, right? In terms of motor technology, in terms of valve technology, in terms of manufacturing technology, in terms of quality management systems. These are all innovations that we have brought into being. And I wouldn't call it just R&D, but it's more of innovation across the organization. If you look at our compressor business, it's for a customer, it's about life cycle cost, right? And one of the biggest elements of life cycle cost is the energy consumed by the compressor, right? So our entire focus is on building machines that are the most efficient in the world. Today, our models are in the top 3, 1, 2, or 3 in the world. And we have now built technologies that will get embedded into our products even as we speak to categorically move ELGi to be number 1 as far as energy efficiency is concerned, because that's the biggest life cycle cost for a customer. The second cost for a customer is downtime. Any machine, mechanical or electronic, will have failure, right? How do you build machines that have the lowest failure rate, right? And we have the ability to predict and prevent failure. So that's the second aspect of it. And the third aspect of it is more both from a customer's point of view as well as from a society environment point of view. Oil is close to 5% of the life cycle cost of a compressor. And if you take all the compressors working in the world, they emit a lot of oil into the atmosphere, right? That's not good for the environment, nor is it good for the customer from a cost point of view, disposal of oil. And so our goal is to make every compressor oil-free. Today, oil-free compressors exist, but they are very inefficient and they're very expensive, right? So our goal is to make every compressor as efficient as oil lubricated compressor and at the same price point. So the entire drive is in these three directions. Talent that we have, our people, is outstanding. We take a lot of enthusiastic youngsters and we build them. So we don't laterally recruit experts from outside. So all of our R&D engineers are homegrown in that sense. There is a huge amount of pride of working for an Indian company, but building world-class products and world-beating products. And I think that energy, the knowledge, and the competence and commitment that we have with our people is one thing that really stands out. I think companies, for all companies, society is a very important stakeholder, right? And society encompasses the environment, being a good citizen, law abiding, and all those dimensions, right? So when we take something from society, whether it's a piece of land, we may own it, but that belongs to society, right? The air that we pollute or use, it belongs to the society. We may own it, but it belongs to the society. The groundwater that is under the land that we own still belongs to the society. It belongs to mankind at a larger level. So, you know, we have a responsibility to use that in a very, very judicious, responsible manner, right? Now, not polluting the air, not polluting the water, not polluting the ground, being very conscious of how we are doing this is very important for us, not only in our products, but also in all our manufacturing process, right? So this is something that we are constantly pushing. It's an everyday thing in our company to reduce energy consumption, to reduce water consumption, to recycle water, to harvest rainwater, to grow more trees, you know, keep it healthy, you know, and wholesome for everyone. So this is something that's ongoing and it's a very serious commitment for us at a level of values. You know, it's not just at a business level; it's much higher level at a purpose. Yeah. You know, unlike all other industries where oil-free air is used, here air comes in contact with a very critical aspect of human consumption, which is the ingredients that go into medicines, which are important. And there is no question, there is no tolerance for any contamination or whatsoever. So it's not like, you know, you can have 0.05% defect and deal with it. And we are talking about human beings and human lives. So there is zero tolerance as far as contamination is concerned. So the quality of air that is used in a pharmaceutical company is at a very, very high standard. And many of the pharmaceutical companies practice standards at a very high level, and rightfully so. So what we offer, so that is one side of it, right? But on the other side of it is compressed air by its nature is a form of energy, right? Just like electricity or water, or it's a utility, right? Now, compressed air as a utility or a form of energy is very inefficient fundamentally. It has certain other virtues, but one of the drawbacks of compressed air is the inefficiency as an energy form. Now, for in a pharmaceutical industry, the consumption of air is very high, right? So when you have a utilization of a very large type of energy which is inefficient, it is very important that they are careful in making the right choice in terms of the efficiency of the machine. And that's really what we bring to play. We bring to play extremely pure air to the highest standard, but at an efficiency and price point which is extremely attractive for customers in the pharmaceutical industry. That's the breakthrough we launched last April, our AB series, right? Which is a real breakthrough in oil-free technology. So if you look at a oil lubricated compressor, right? And if you take efficiency index as 100, an oil-free compressor has an efficiency index of only 85. So it's anywhere between 10 to 15% less efficient, right? If you look at the price index of an oil lubricated compressor at 100, typically the price index of a conventional oil-free compressor is 300. So it's 2 to 3 times more expensive, 10 to 15% less efficient. Now, the AB series is a journey towards convergence of these two categories. Our goal is to make every compressor in the world oil-free at today's cost of an oil lubricated compressor and today's efficiency of an oil lubricated. So the launch of the AB series has moved it closer to the oil lubricated compressor, right? So that our efficiency index is probably at around 95. So we're only 5% off. And our price index is probably at around 150 or 160. So we are half of a conventional oil-free. So this is the direction in which we are shifting. And AB is our platform for that. The digitalization is a tool, right? We should not forget about that. Sometimes in the high decibel conversations that is going around about digitization, sometimes people tend to think that digitization is an end by itself, right? It is not. It's a tool that needs to be employed either to solve a pressing business problem or to realize a big business opportunity, right? So I think when viewed that way, it is an extremely powerful tool, right? And it needs, and it is going through a lot of shifts, and it's morphing even as we speak. It is not stabilized. So it has to be done in a very judicious manner. At the end of the day, it's about quality of, for a customer, it's the quality of an experience. And for a company, it's the quality of your decisions, right? The more data you have, the decision quality improves, right? More data you have, you can improve the experience of your products and services to your customer. So this is really at the summary what digitization can do. What we are doing is we have tested over the last 2.5 years a proprietary IoT platform in India. Now we are ready. We're going to launch it next year, maybe March, April, globally. This will give us the ability to improve the customer's experience with our compressor. And the key foundation is how can we predict a failure, right? Using neural networks, artificial intelligence, various algorithms. How can we predict so that the customer's downtime cost is there, lowered? So we can get to a compressor before actual failure, right? So these are all the kinds of evolutions that are happening. Well, I don't know the difference, Sujata. I think there's so many technical terms that are being thrown around. I think it's very important to understand it's about data, right? The whole thing is about today, platforms are being created, whether it's sensors or whether it is information gateways or processing capability. All this is enabling data and summarization of data very inexpensive, right? So it's nowhere could you get that kind of data summarized into something that you can consider, right? That for me is the key, right? Now, once you have that power of that data with you, right? One, your decision quality improves, two, customer experience improves. So that's really what I look at. Yeah. For us, this is nothing new, right? Of course, it's a big rallying point at nation level. We have always made in India, right? And unlike what I would like to say is, it should not stop with make in India. It should say make in India, but make for the world, right? Now, if you make in India and make for India, then you have to run the risk of going back to the license Raj system, right? Where we were protected and we made products that were shoddy and customers suffered because of that, right? So it's very important that we make in India but make for the world, right? So that the Indians as citizens rightfully have the best products in the world for their consumption, right? So our take on that is make in India but make for the world. Absolutely, because our strategy has been to build a global enterprise out of India with Indians, right? That's been our aspiration. Now, that's the journey we are in. Today, more than 50% of our revenue is coming outside the country. And that too in the developed markets like Europe, Australia, and the US, right? And they give us a big chunk of our revenue. And that's for me is a example of make in India but make for the world. This pandemic is a crisis which is deep and long. Yeah, uh, we have seen crisis before, whether it's the financial crisis or our own economic crises that we have had in India. They have not been this deep, but they've not been this long, right? So the important thing is to have the resolve, right? It is not about it's a reality. There's nothing, you can't wish it away. First is to accept this reality. Now what I'm seeing is the bottom is not as low as we everyone thought it would be, right? It is, yes, it is lower, but it's not as bad, right? And if we get our arms around the strengths of the organization, the fundamentals of the organization, preserve our cash, preserve our costs, and sustain through this. I think we have shown historically that Indians have a lot of perseverance and grit, right? They will persevere, but we just need to make sure that they are provided the right, basic kind of a comfort and enthusiasm, motivation. Keep going. It's okay. When you're running the marathon, you don't see the end tape, but it's there. You know, it is there. So have faith. It will come. It will be over, and we will get back to a different normal, but we'll get back to normal. Yeah.